god who destroys his creations out of spite and revenge, only to realize he's completely alone. A story of heartbreak, betrayal, and loneliness. A story of sorrow and fear, friendship and cruelty. I know you guys have been waiting a while to hear my EXE story, and now that I have the art, I can finally bring it to you. So, I won't make you guys wait any longer. Here it is, the full story of Lucian the Betrayed. At first, there was nothing. No life, no stars, no planets. It didn't exist. Nothing did. An empty void. Until suddenly, a massive explosion expanded, giving form to something new. At first, this too was empty, but it gave space to create something within it. A start to something truly special. The birth of a beautiful expansion going far beyond any mortal comprehension. A god sits alone in this empty space, occupying it in every corner. And though a being such as this could not feel the same way mortals do, it felt the need to have purpose. At first, this was to create. It had a longing for it. It would create a canvas in which it could paint its ideas into existence. Starting small to understand the concept of what it can do. The empty new universe needed to shine. It needed light. Stars were spread wide across the new creation, shining bright across the landscape its god created. Over time, planets were formed to harness a new project this entity wanted so desperately to start. As time went on, it began to feel. It began to become aware. Before, it created out of necessity, like that was its purpose. But now, it started to feel happy with its creations, but it had no one to share it with. It wanted to create something like itself, something that could feel, something that could recognize what's around it. It wanted to form what it knew into physical form, but couldn't perfect it. The result is what would eventually be called humanity. From this point, the god would watch his creations grow closely. He would guide them into the right direction and learn from them himself. As they evolved, so did he, even making himself into a human from time to time to better fit in. He crafted a planet that would be suited for them and wanted to make sure they all had free will. Eventually, humans would give a name to their god, Lucian, or Bringer of Light, as he would oftentimes be there to guide them. As time went on, he bonded with them and became infatuated with their culture and things they themselves would create. They wouldn't be perfect, as he couldn't quite craft perfection, but Lucian found beauty in their flaws. Despite everything, they persisted. Lucian had no interest in restarting even after seeing the best in humanity or at its worst, as he wanted them all to experience free will, to experience his creations and have honest opinions and thoughts about their surroundings, to be individuals who had different views. But as time went on, and as humanity grew more advanced, they brought concerns to the Lightbringer. Being alive for so long, they feared he would grow bored of them, and because he is powerful, he would suddenly wipe them all out to start over something better. Something more perfect. The Lightbringer acknowledged their concerns, and to the world, he showcased his kindness. Lucian crafted the Guardians of Earth, made for the purpose of protecting them. He did this by splitting his soul into pieces, manifesting those traits into living beings. They did not have the capability of being evil. They were his power and kindness manifested. He made them after existing animals because he thought they were cute and humans would have an easier time accepting them if they seemed harmless. Their species type would be called Mobian, and they represented not only his power, but part of his soul and emotion. Sonic would inherit the gift of infinite potential and speed, making him the strongest of the group. Knuckles was gifted strength, Tails given intelligence, Rouge her charisma, Sally gifted bravery and leadership, Amy nurturing and love, Cream was granted kindness and curiosity, and each of them were granted a role to play for humanity. Of course, they too would experience free will, but they only showed to care for people and never did them harm. They were able to make mistakes. They were still sentient and had to learn, but it was clear to the humans Lucian would never replace them or enact any sort of violence because he loved them and the Mobians more than anything. Lucian created Vanilla to guide Cream and help those who wanted comfort. As time went on, the Lightbringer actually became close friends with each of the Sonic cast, assigning them different missions and tasks. He was so proud of this creation, he morphed himself into one of them, The reason he's dressed all fancy like this is because he just likes it. His clothes were actually made by Vanilla, Amy, and Cream. He actually added the magic element and the stars to the cape because he wanted to be reminded of what he first created, and so he could have it with him everywhere he goes. He also just thought it was just genuinely cool. That's the thing about Lucian, is that while I make him seem like this like professional god, he's really kind of like a bit of a charming, sometimes clumsy, silly character. For example, his tome that he has is actually him and the Sonic cast. They just like work together to come up with names for moves and magic abilities that he does, that he wrote down. He does not need that, but he has it because he thought it would make him look cooler if he wrote down these magic abilities. And everyone kind of got together and decided to kind of write this with them. So there's a little bit of a small detail to give you an idea. And that was kind of like the idea. Obviously, I'm giving a summary of the story, and this is a little bit off script. I'm just basically giving the summary of the story, and when it's actually shown, however I decide to do that, into a little bit of how he is. Lucian shared a bond with each Mobian and also maintained a healthy relationship with humanity as well. However, not all humans were fond of this new development. They were still convinced he wanted to replace them, this time with the Mobians. Lucian made sure to stay consistent in his teachings and continued to break himself down to provide comfort to his creation. However, greed, pride, power, they could still corrupt humans. Lucian saw these feelings as a way to teach something, but ultimately one individual was so obsessed with themselves, so intelligent yet prideful. A human by the name of Ivo Robotnik felt that this being only halted their progression, or rather, his progression. He started to prove that anyone could create life, and made Metal Sonic to mock Lucian's creation. He knew the Lightbringer would never actually harm him, so he continued to make Lucian's creations and make his own based off of that. Robotnik felt that he should be the one to build an empire, and that with his incredible intellect, lead humanity into what it truly can be. He saw the flaws in humans as a mistake and resented Lucian, so he started to develop a plan. He would call it Project Null. Robotnik created a pocket dimension to contain Lucian, since even in his weakened state, Robotnik could never hope to defeat him, especially not with those pesky guardians. Whether Ivo liked it or not, other people began to join his cause, spreading lies and influence to fearmonger people of being weary of their so-called god. They started to question everything, and the Lightbringer started to notice more and more discrimination and hate. Eventually, Robotnik invites Lucian over to talk. Lucian, of course, accepts, hoping to end this once and for all, though the trusting god doesn't inform the heroes where he's going. Lucian wanted to see the best in Robotnik and the humans, so when he was invited over, even if he knew it was a trap, he still went. After all, anything Ivo could throw at him, he could likely deflect. The Lightbringer meets Robotnik in his lab, seemingly far too trusting. Lucian tries to talk to the mad scientist, and for a moment, it kind of seems like it's working. But as he steps into a room with Ivo, it fades to black. Robotnik created a hologram of himself to walk alongside Lucian and make it seem like he was giving a tour, slightly rubbing it in his face that he's able to make what Lucian does, just with his intelligence and no magic. And because of this, Lucian becomes trapped, and before he knows it, he's teleported to a world that was built specifically for him. An empty void, just like where he started. Robotnik announces that Lucian has been dealt with, and now he plans to build his Eggman empire to its full capacity and evolve the humans. Sonic and friends are left to defeat Eggman and to try to rescue their creator. But something happens. Something that not even Robotnik predicted. This pocket dimension held something deeply sinister. An entity that could not defeat Lucian, but influence him. Like a parasite, it latched on to the feelings of betrayal and sadness. It latched on to his want for revenge. All of those years of being mistreated for his kindness. Repressed feelings of resentment and anger, insanity took a hold of him. His appearance changed over the course of many days as he continued to fight this thing, but he couldn't do it. He suffered agonizing pain for days, and it would be the first time he experienced such a thing. Mental torment and physical anguish broke him down and tore apart his mind until he went completely silent. Given a new form, given a new purpose, he would make humanity suffer and start anew. He would take pleasure in their anguish. His compassion, his kindness, he had it no longer. Only insanity and pain. Feelings of betrayal and anger. Sonic and friends eventually halt Eggman's plan for the time being, but as they tried to rescue Lucian, he wasn't there. Lucian steps out from behind them completely normal. He escaped on his own. He cracks a few jokes to the group, apologizing for worrying them and asks if they're okay. It's important to note that Sonic and friends have a connection to him and felt that his energy was weird. Tails especially notices that something was off. But ultimately, the group was just glad to see their friend is okay, and they all decide to head home. Robotnik was able to successfully retreat, going into hiding until he could reveal himself once more with another master plan. Meanwhile, Lucian wants to put fear into humanity. Despite their opinions of Lucian, people came to love the Guardians, throwing them festival, giving them gifts. They were incredibly supportive. So the Lightbringer now wanted to show them that he had become what they feared he would be. The thing they tried to prevent is what he turned into because of them. In order for Lucian to gain back the power he lost, he would have to hunt down each of the Guardians to gain that piece of himself back, though he ignored the girls. Tails, Knuckles, Sonic, he needed them to suffer. Sure, he could wipe out humanity, but that wouldn't send the message he wanted. That wouldn't teach the lesson he wanted to. So, one by one, he hunted down and tormented his former close friends, and each time he did, he grew further and further from his old self. He was past the point of forgiving himself. Does he succeed? Well, I kind of lied. I'm not going to tell you guys the full story. That'll have to be for another time. Lucian has been a really fun story for me to write and has gone through a lot of changes. His original lore was him being infatuated with like Sonic horror creatures, and he could see the multiverse of them. He could see the multiverse of EXEs, basically kind of like a self-insert. And the first art of Lucian's design is made by Darisi Cub. It's pretty cool art. You can find their stuff in the description. Now, let's talk about what I would like to see in the future. A lot, actually. If you guys want to draw fan art of the character, it is encouraged, and you don't gotta ask me. I love seeing any fan art of Lucian, either my VTuber/human form or his EXE variant. Swap did an amazing job drawing the art for Lucian, and I am happy with the design. In the future, I wouldn't mind some sort of FNAF mod, but the ultimate goal I'd love to see is a game. Obviously, I have no experience with coding or making a game, and I'm not sure how I would be able to pull that off. I need to gather some sort of team, but I think it would be really cool to see. I already have most of the events planned out, so it'd just be a matter of me directing the game and finding people who would be willing to make it. Same goes for an FNAF mod, as I want to make a few songs about Lucian, which might already be in the works. I would love to hear feedback of your guys' thoughts on the character, as I put a lot of time and thought into his story and would love to create something out of it. And if there's anything you guys would like to see, let me know down in the comments. It might not seem like it, but I do try to interact with you guys. I stream on Twitch from time to time, so consider checking that out. I also have a second channel where I post edited videos of Sonic.EXE games and other games I like, all edited in a funny and kind of professional way. So if you want more Dankachi content, go check that out. I do want to say thank you guys so much for all the support. It means the world to me. Like, genuinely, I honestly didn't see myself coming this far, and when I look at where I've gone, it's honestly kind of baffling. Oh, and the Spirits of Hell round 2 video is now in the recording process, which is my biggest video yet. It took me so long and I suffered a lot for it, so I hope you guys will check it out, as it's seriously one of the hardest games I've played, and this is the first of its kind. There isn't really another video documenting the entirety of that game, so it'll definitely be a spectacle. Subscribe, and remember, stay spooky.